Hey everybody, Max here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the X-Men 97 Cable figure. This was a guy he's been on my radar for a little while. I know he's been out for a little bit, but I was kind of surprised to find him in my local Target. He wasn't even listed on their website, and this was during the post-Thanksgiving buy one, get one 50% off, and I was shocked to see it in my local Target, and so I just couldn't pass it up. Got him along with the Outback Storm figure. So haven't decided if I'm going to be doing a review on her or not. I may just keep her in the package. So, but I'm definitely going to get this guy out. I've had the chance to toy around with him. A few people that I know have had him, and it's a really nice figure. And so, just hadn't gotten around to getting him yet. So, without much ado, let's get him out of the package and see what we can see. So, stick around. Okay, so here he is out of the package, and here is the back of the package because I didn't show it to you in the intro. He is a part of this particular wave that includes Sunspot, Morph, Emma Frost, Jubilee, and a plainclothes Logan. I am not really interested in anybody in this wave other than Cable, with the exception of maybe Sunspot. He's been on and off of going on discount here during the holiday season. I wouldn't mind having him if he was in a powered up state. So, and I wouldn't mind having him just to complete a New Mutants line, but you know how long it can take Hasbro to complete a team. So I'm on the fence about getting him. Maybe I'll get him if he's like deep discounted or something like that. So it doesn't seem like he's a very popular one of this wave. So hey, he may be like really deeply discounted a year from now. So we'll see. But right now we're going to talk about Cable, and it's just typical blister card. I like the artwork. X-Men 97 is pretty cool revival series. So and I've always liked Cable. He's not my favorite X-Man, but he has definitely got a part to play, and he is kind of key to the lore and everything. I did have his first appearance, and technically, it was issue 202, I think, when he was born. That was before he was retconned into being Nathan Summers, the son of Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor. So anyway, and I had the first appearance of him in Cable. I think that was, oh gosh, one of the New Mutants, 91, 90, something like that. So yeah, I definitely had his first appearance, and he's an interesting character for sure. And he's had a series here and there, and what have you. So it's really cool to have a decent one. I definitely like the look of this guy over the more traditional comic accurate Cable that came out for the Marvel Legends a year or so ago. So it's kind of cool. Yes, he's more animation style, but I definitely like it much better than what we've seen before. And there's no pinned joints or anything. So let's just kind of talk about his accessories as we normally do. He's a big, chunky character, too. He was a lot bigger and heftier than I was expecting him to be. He comes with two trigger finger hands. He comes with this open left-handed kind of grasping hand, so he can, hold his rifle with two hands, which is kind of difficult, and I'll explain why. And then he comes with one fist, and then he has these two Iron Man style blast effects that, like I said, we have seen 1,000 times with Iron Man, and they break apart. So if you want to just have them displayed like that, you certainly can. And hey, it's nothing wrong with having extra blast effects. If some of these Iron Man figures that need foot and repulsor blast effects, you can use those if you want in that respect. So he comes with some really cool weapons. Now, honest to gosh, it was these kind of Greg Capullo, and John Romita Jr. style weapons. I think these seem more. This one in particular seems more like a John Romita Jr. style weapon, and I seem to recall him using something similar to this on a cover of Uncanny X-Men around like issue 300 or something like that. But really cool, very chunky, very blocky, and very reminiscent of that particular era when he was created and when he was super popular. So it has a port for blast effects, obviously, some red paint on there, so that is really cool. I definitely like the look of these, and this really awesome rifle. This honestly was probably what sold me on it, because I just love guns. And yeah, so this is really chunky piece of plastic. Now, both of these are just silver plastic, and you can tell they have pore lines, and there's no silver paint or anything else to cover it up. I don't particularly care for that, but given the kind of post-apocalyptic future that he comes from, you could say that those are like scratches and scuff marks and what have you. So I can kind of let it slide. I won't ding it for that too bad, but I definitely don't like it. I would certainly like to see paint to cover up the pore lines when it comes to metallic colored plastic, but I can't deny that the design of this guy is really sweet. I definitely like the look of this, and I wish I had two of them because this looks like the kind of weapon that Forge would use. I mean, I can see him using something like this, and it definitely fits very well in his hand as well. And it's actually a little bit better, fits a little bit better in with Forge. It just kind of, it looks like somewhat like the weapon that he used on the cover of X-Men 275, but because he has butterfly joints, he can hold this rifle a lot better than Cable can. So you get some cross-body action going better with Forge than you do with Cable, and I'll show you. I'll show you. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having two of these because up until now I've been using this kind of roadblock G.I. Joe Classified Cobra Island roadblock figure. This actually was the first roadblock weapon from the first roadblock of the classified line, which was the first figure, if I'm not mistaken, was the actual #1 was Roadblock. So this looks like something that either one of these futuristic high-tech characters might use. But yeah, let's just kind of had him kind of just one-handing it. But because of the overlay and there is a lack of butterfly joints, and for some reason the butterfly or the not the butterfly joints, but the um, bicep swivel. Good grief, can't think. It's they're not, it's a little loose, unfortunately. So, and you can actually kind of see down in there, you can see the shoulder peg. So I may have to heat this guy up and see if I can't get it to sit a little more securely. Otherwise, I may just have to deal with it. So he can't quite, well, let me change out the hands too. I mean, he can do that. He can kind of, but he can't turn his head very well because the collar gets in the way. So he kind of is looking up more unless you kind of tuck his chin in a little bit. So that's kind of tough and unfortunate. He's a nice looking figure, but there are limitations. This is definitely more function following form. We had to get the look right and then worry about the the aesthetics or the function later, the ability to hold weapons and pose and all that kind of stuff. So that's all right. That's an all right look, but it's not great. It's not great, unfortunately. But nothing I'm really going to ding it on. The overlay is fairly thick, so it's not going to be, it's not flexible enough to get the arm out of the way or to get it out of the way of the arm. So there's that. So just kind of take that as you will. It may just be I give this rifle to Forge and and he just goes around with his single short-barreled futuristic rifle. Or, it kind of looks a little bit better, this big thing, because he doesn't have the stock, the extended stock. You can use this kind of G.I. Joe Classified contraption and kind of go, that might be something that Cable might bring back from the future. He has all kinds of crazy futuristic weapons. And the trigger fingers, or trigger hands, are on a horizontal hinge, so you can get a little more range of motion in how he holds it. So that is an option for you, sort of. You can also, well, I suppose you could probably hold it like this. So Cable is a guy who mainly uses guns because his psionic abilities, he's telepathic or telekinetic, but his telekinetic abilities are what keep him alive. It keeps the transmode virus or techno-organic virus that took over half of his body, keeps it at bay. So if he was completely healed, if his arm was really there and everything, if he wasn't infected with that, he'd be a very powerful telekinetic, very similar to Jean Grey. So in general, he uses traditional weapons, and he's a really good strategist and fighter, and he's been a time traveler and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, those are the accessories. The head sculpt is really good. I think this is definitely better than the one that we get for the mainline Marvel Legends series that Build-A-Figure. And the paint looks really good around the eye. Good sculpt on the hair. It's like obviously animation style, but still it works just fine. I mean, it fits in fine with, you know, any other Marvel Legends figures. So I like the color scheme. I do like the look of it. He gets pretty good range of motion down, looking down, up, not so bad. Kind of, you might have to tuck it in a little bit and then leaning back some to have him look up a little bit. Side to side is pretty good. The collar, like I said, kind of gets in the way in some regards, so it's hitting, his chin's hitting the collar a bit. This earpiece here, or the receiver microphone, that is permanently affixed, so that's glued on, and definitely has a really cool hairstyle. And a lot, very colorful blues, greens, reds, and but not kind of overblown like the pouches. I mean, he was drawn with some crazy amount of pouches back in the day. So yeah, the articulation of the arms is where it's probably the worst. I mean, he can get a T-pose, and he has a bicep swivel. Both bicep swivels are a little on the loose side, a little too loose for my taste. I thought it might have something to do with the type of plastic on the left arm, but it seems to be kind of the same way over here. A little bit of a wobble, and like I said, you can kind of a little too much pressure, and you can see the peg. So I may have to try and maneuver that or update that perhaps. But the sculpt work is really good all the way around, and he's very hefty. He has a diaphragm cut. He only leans forward about that far, but if he can look down on a smaller character. And side to side is pretty good. And he does have a waist swivel too, but it's hidden by the belt. So he has pretty good articulation in the torso, surprisingly, and double jointed pinless elbows, pretty stiff. I'm having to be fairly careful because, like I said, I don't want to pop the peg off of the shoulder joint. No butterfly joints, unfortunately, so no side to side, and the overlay keeps his arms from being able to go all the way up, unfortunately. So there is that. So that is one limitation. That's the main biggest limitation of a character like this. But any other, I mean, I don't see any other way they could have designed it and still kept him to the look that he has in the cartoon. And the straps kind of de-strap. There's some pegs right here. It looks like it's glued, but then where it comes down, you can peg it in right there on the front and back. And that is fine by me. Doesn't bother me a whole lot at all, if at all. Silver paint on the belt. Looks pretty good. Lots of pouches, but not going crazy on the pouches. Let's see. Like I said, vertical hinge on the trigger finger hands, horizontal on the cupping hand. And let's see. Oh, and this pouch right here, the string of pouches around the bicep, that's molded in, I think. Is that part of the sculpt? Or could you? Nope, you could take that off if you wanted to, but there's a track in there that keeps it secure. So there's that. So yeah, a little looseness in the bicep. That's the thing I don't like. And so the bicep swivel is definitely the area that is giving me the most fits. Pretty good splits for a big character like this. I mean, I've seen, honestly, gosh, it's like he gets better splits than some like Spider-Man or Daredevil figures, and he only kicks forward that far, so that's bad. He doesn't kick forward very far, but he has a pretty good thigh swivel, pouches right there at the top of the thigh swivel's right there at the top of the pouches. Double jointed pinless knees. He kicks back fairly far for a big beefy guy. The knee joints are a little loose too. That's unfortunate. There might be some Mod Podge in his future. And you know how I love either an ankle or a boot swivel? And as big of a figure as this guy is, they didn't bother to give us one. I mean, tons of other Marvel Legends. I mean, MCU figures, they don't hardly ever come with a thigh swivel or an ankle swivel or anything like that. But some of these X-Men 97 figures, I want to say, I think they do. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, but yeah, actually they do. So this is Cyclops from the X-Men 97, and he has the thigh swivel. So yeah, and this is a fantastic figure. I love this figure. So if you haven't watched my review of Cyclops from X-Men 97, do so. I hope you give it a look-see if this is your first video. So this is collar. Can you take this collar off? It looks like it's... No, I think it's glued. Well, could it be pegged? I don't want to. Yeah, maybe glued and pegged. Yeah, I look like I'm stressing out the plastic, so I'm going to leave that alone, but not too bad. So other than some looseness in the knees and some looseness at the bicep swivel, he's a solid looking figure. Oh, and the feet, decent range of motion in the feet, but yeah, so much extra material. They could have easily given us a thigh swivel there. That just bugs me because I really like ankle or thigh, and because it just gives a little more range of motion. So, yep. But that is Cable, Nathan Summers. Let me know what you think in the comment section. So here he is. We got Corsair, his grandfather, and then we got Cyclops, his dad, and then we got, so 3 generations of Summers men right here. So 3 great figures. I'm going to give this guy a warp factor of, I'm going to give him a, honestly, I think for the look of him, I'm going to give him an 8. I think he's a warp factor of 8, even though I wanted to give him a lower rating for the lack of a ankle or boot swivel and the looseness or lack of butterfly joint. I think they still could have given us something. I think a butterfly joint might have still worked if the plastic right here on the shoulders were, the shoulder pads was a little thinner, but maybe it wouldn't have held its shape as much. I don't know. But, and you can tell just how much taller he is. So he's a big dude. And let's just stand Cyclops up all the way. So yeah, he's a head taller than his son, or his dad, I should say, and definitely a head taller than his grandfather. So yeah, big character, big figure. So not Hulk big, but big enough, you know. So anyway, yeah, I'm happy with this figure on a whole, and I'm looking forward to. I finally got Disney Plus, so I will be watching X-Men 97, getting caught up. It's funny, I've been buying some of these figures and haven't been watching the show, simply because I do dig the X-Men quite a bit. Read them quite a lot back in the day during the Claremont era, which was pretty much the 80s, the late 70s, the 80s, and into the 90s. So yeah, all right, Cable, warp factor of 8. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm getting close to 500 subscribers. If you're new here, you can help me get one step closer. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. I'll talk to you next time.